well. Hello? Cube. What is a cube? A cube, in this circumstance, is a box in the third dimension. And today, we're going to make this box into the fourth dimension. The dimension of friendship. Alright? We're going to make a companion cube from Portal 2 and 1, I suppose. But I haven't really played Portal 1. So, a companion cube, this box will become eventually. Hopefully. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a little difficult. Definitely. A few things. I haven't carved wood in over a few months. I haven't done a lot of art recently. I've been playing a lot of video games. I want to go back to my roots. And the companion cube is a little difficult because I don't have any, I don't have a lot of tools for carving wood, unfortunately. I have a box cutter knife. I have different sorts. I have a few things, but not a lot to carve wood with. I don't have any chisels. I don't have anything like that. So we're gonna try to find a way. Life finds a way, and we'll see. So the companion cube's a little bit of a simple design. I have such a cluttered desk. I have my new art tablet and then this big old box that I use for wood carving because I don't want to make a mess everywhere. Bit of a cluttered bit, but companion cube's a little bit of a simple design. Pretty much just some like guarded box outlines on the corners, and then a big circle in the center that has a heart in it. Pretty easy. The difficult part is going to be making the divots in between to show like the raised sections of the cube. That's going to be a little difficult, but I'll figure it out, I'm sure. I don't know, this camera is a little high up, but I have it like that from the paper mache stream, and I didn't feel like changing that because that would be a pain. Frankly, it was just my laziness stopping me from doing that. Ooh, just smooshed the mic on accident. How do I draw this? I think, because it's generally like a circle around the center. Oh, I hate drawing circles. They're my one enemy. They're my greatest foe. Okay. Looks fine enough. Going round and round, like a merry-go-round. Maybe I missed it by like 5 generations, but I never played on it. Well, no, that's not a lie. But it was rare and odd when you would find young me on a merry-go-round. It would certainly have to be an interesting day for that, because merry-go-rounds aren't really like peak roller coaster, you know what I mean? They're kind of middling. I'm not gonna lie with you. They're a little slow, a little unenergetic, and all around kinda fucking boring. I don't know. I don't think there's a kid alive in this current year of 2025 that would be like, oh wow, a merry-go-round? Gee, gollikers, man. Oh my gosh. We really get to go on a merry-go-round today? Like, unless they're Amish or something. I don't think... No. No shade to any Amish Twitch viewers, but I think they're going against your own creed there. Um, See, they're a free punching bag because they can't fight back online. Mm, there we go. I I get it's a product of the times. A lot of cliches are just building off of characterizations of an original character that then become a cliche. But I don't get the whole like sexy spy thing. I feel like that'd be kind of anti-intuitive. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why would a spy be all hot and bothered about a lot of things? Aren't isn't he supposed to be like apathetic and all about the mission? You know what I mean? I guess I get it's like a romance thing. Oh wow, person of danger. But it doesn't really make any sense now, does it? Like maybe for the mission, I suppose, but I don't know. Never really got. I guess to humanize them a little, right? If you're murking 30 people in a span of 20 minutes, you gotta add some humanity into the character, I suppose. But still, I feel like it's kind of against what they're. I don't know. You kind of get what I'm rambling about, right? That seems like a good outline. I don't know if you all are carving heads like me, but that's generally the shape I'm going for here. Now I gotta do that 5 more times. Alright, but it should be easier with some blueprints. Hmm. There and there. There we go. Now, I am working actually on a little bit of a fun streaming surprise that I hope will be entertaining to the masses. I'm working on a little bit of a PNG tube model right now of myself. Of I don't know. It's kind of hard because I don't really have an OC to implement onto this. So I think any model I make is just going to be a random character that I think of. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't have a general. Like, I guess the Apple as my streaming thing is like sort of a um overarching like channel mascot, but it's kind of hard to make one unless you're specifically making a channel off of one thing. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of VTubers they planned it out a little better than I did. Obviously, I didn't know if I was going to be a VTuber or not. I think I'm still going to be. But, you know, things could change eventually. I would like more interactivity with viewers, being able to see my emotions and such without having to show my face, because I don't really feel comfortable with that online. Uh, but holy crap, these edges are annoying. Let me see how. Oh, okay. It's not a horrible cutting. No, and it's quite brittle and dry. That's good. If you don't know a lot about carving wood, dry and soft wood is very nice for stuff that you want to do. At least for beginners like myself. I don't know if that even helped. Um, just trying not to get a splinter. Those suck. I once had a really nasty splinter once. Do you want to hear it? Of course you do. Uh, so I had a really uh, I had these childhood friends, and I'm still friends with them to this day, but they're a little older than I am, so we kind of aged out of schoolings at different times. So, little bit of a like different world that we're both living in, me and this family. I'm from the whole family had like we grew up on the same street, same you get it, right? So they had a very unfinished porch. Not finished in like it wasn't done. It was a very old porch. They've been using it for years, but finished in like the ending of a project sense, where it's kind of just straight up wood, which is not how you make a deck, frankly. But I digress. So they had a very unfinished deck, and I was playing around on it. Like we were playing tag or whatever, and I was running around, and I ran all down the stairs of this deck, and I like skidded my back heel on one of the stairs for a second, and there must have been like an upsticking plank or whatever, and owie a zowie, that shit hurt so bad. It was a little like maybe this long piece of wood just right into my heel, and like it went in and then it snapped off, so there was no like outer bit of it. It was just internal pain. Um, so it was pretty annoying to get out. We had to go spelunking into my heel to find the treasure that was causing me such excruciating pain. Not fun, not fun at all. But I don't know. It wasn't too bad. Now that I think about it, it was just kind of funky feeling. You know what I mean? Especially like the heel's actually a really good place for that to happen because it didn't have a lot of nerves in it. But it's just like the feeling you get, especially you've ever, I don't know if you've ever been in any sort of surgery, but you know, if like it's a minor sort of dermal surgery, it's just on the skin. I had one actually right here. I had something they needed to cut out of me. It was deadly, you see. No, it wasn't. I think it was benign, but they just wanted to get it out of me. Um, and like they numb the place, and then they cut it open. But like you can't feel it, but you can kind of feel it, and it's just the feeling of something inside of a place that you weren't. That's crass. I didn't mean it in that sort of. It's the feeling that you get when there's something that shouldn't be there in your body, and you're like, hey now, for just one moment. My skin was merely an inch before where this thing is, and now it is in a place that places should not be, but there's no pain. My body is very troubled by these actions. I don't know, it definitely throws your like equilibrium for a loop a little when you're like, what the heck is this feeling? You know what I mean? So that was like there wasn't any numbing on my foot and my heel, and it did hurt a little, but the heel's a very like dead into place. It's kind of like the weenus of your elbow. You can see it by the shadow. You know what I mean? Like there's not a ton of nerves there, so like the place around that maybe you'd feel something like if someone cut your weenus. Phrasing. If someone cut your weenus, oh God, not the children. If someone did that, you'd be like, owie, because the rest around that would hurt, but not the weenus itself. You get what I'm saying? I don't even know if it's called the weenus. That's just what I've always heard it's called. It could just be people making fun of just a funny word, but I don't know. Is it called the weenus? That's such a, I don't know. Some biological names are a little silly, but I feel like weenus is kind of taking the cake. This would be this is gonna be a neat art project. I am already envisioning it. If and in fact, if I can, um, actually cut the thing that I want to cut, like into this by like an inch here, and then like on the inside ring here. If I can do that, I'll have to like score it and then like you know what I'm saying? I'll have to like score it down and then like make little boxes and then break it out. I think and then sand it down is what I'm imagining we'll have to do. But I feel like it's gonna look really cool. I have a lot of ideas. It's gonna be kind of like painting a miniature. It's gonna be really cool. Hopefully. There's also little. Now that I'm looking at it, there's lines. There's like straight lines in the center of each one of these that go into the center. I don't know. It's a little difficult to freehand a lot of this stuff, but I think that's gonna be a little bit of the charm of it. If it's like off by a centimeter, you'll be like, oh, it's homemade. It wasn't. You ain't some corpo sellout. Corpo sellout. Have I streamed the story of my corpo friend? I say corpo like I'm some fucking edge runner, dude. No, but she's. I met her through a school trip, and she's swell. She's kind of a freak, but she's swell, and she works at this restaurant nearby. And like, you work at a restaurant when you're. This was back in like high school. You work at a restaurant when you're younger, and back in high school, like I'm some old ass man. I'm still in high school. But this was a few years ago. She worked at this restaurant. And you work at a restaurant in high school, and like, it's whatever. Everyone has to work a high school job, right? Everyone has to work a younger job. I mean, if you're older and you're working at a restaurant, good on. It's hard to not be a dick, but like, you're doing a needed service. I'm not trying to rain on your parade, right? You're doing something that's needed for the community, and I salute you for that. Though it's not a glamorous job, you're doing something that's both required and unthanked by most. You know what I mean? I respect that. And maybe you want to kill yourself at the end of your shift because you have to deal with a bunch of annoying ass people nagging you 24/7 about food that like they don't need to eat that much of. I get that. But you're still doing something that's needed, and you're doing it with a smile on your face, hopefully. That's respectable. Oh wow. 4 more to go. Um anyways, so she works at this restaurant near where where like this in well, she works at a restaurant that is near where we all live. Like, I don't it's kind of hard to phrase that in a way that doesn't sound weird. I don't mean you kind of know what I'm talking about, right? Anyways, she works at this restaurant, and it's alright for like a teenager working at a restaurant is everyone needs to have a side gig or whatever as a kid, right? To grow up, understanding the value of money a little, and to get some get some dough in case your parents don't give you an allowance. Which, like, I did that canoeing thing. There's plenty of things younger teens can do to get money, and a restaurant is a more common avenue for that sort of employment. Um, so like that's not weird. But the weird thing is, she would go to school wearing fucking merch of her restaurant, like advertising it, and every single time, like, all right, Corpo Pig, what do you want from me now? Like, it was baffling to an extent. Like, you're going to school, and I don't know if you've spoken with a teenager outside of your teenage years, but they're assholes. they're kind of mean, and to go to an environment that is not the friendliest in an outfit that is not the most stylish is a bravery that I could not match, frankly enough. I made fun of her because it was funny and we're friends, but I was impressed a little. You gotta be impressed about that sort of thing. Shows a little bit of character. Caricature. Ah. Fuck. It's a little hard to freehand it so far away from my body, because, like, I'm here, and then I don't really know how to, like, show you the spacing between where my arms are out so you can see the camera, or you can see this cube and, like, my body. But my hands are here, and I'll tell you when it stops. I'm, like, going this way, and then stops. Like, I'm kind of full-handed, like, reaching out to get this in frame, but it's a little difficult to freehand this sort of thing. Period. But I'm doing my best. I'm doing my din darndest. Making this companion cube the greatest I can. I don't know, I really liked Portal 2 when I played it. It was definitely one of the more witty games I played. Witty and, like, I'm not saying it was a real head scratcher and all the jokes, but I think some of them were set up in a way that you don't really see in a lot of games. The whole, this is the part where I'm going to kill you thing in act whatever, you know what I mean. I thought that was a very clever joke. Not in, like, the sense where, like, it's never been done before, but I think using all the pieces of dialogue you can to make the rule of three is a very funny way of doing it. You know what I mean? Like, they use Wheatley saying it, they use GLaDOS saying it. So both of the verbal characters that they have in the show or in the game, and then they have the title screen say it, and the, like, or the chapter screen say it, and, like, the save say it, I think, or, like, the subtitle chapter say it, which I think is a very, like, it just one after the other is just very well made. I think they really put a lot of passion into that game that you don't see a lot recently. That's very nice. You know what I mean? It's definitely more respectable now than it was even back then, because nowadays games, they're being pumped out at a pace that it's hard to really get that feeling of, oh, the developers really loved playing this game, that's why they made it. You know what I mean? Like, at a AAA company, you're not going to always love the product that is being produced at the current moment, but even in indie games, when they're trying to jump on a phase, they try to jump, like, phases change so much that instead of trying to carve their own path, which are always the most popular games, they try to jump on the same one. And I don't mean to, I'm not like a game dev. Don't take my words as gospel here, but, like, uh what word? Give me some examples that I have in my brain that I'm not using right now. Repo, and then what are the other friend slop games that I'm trying to think of right now? Friend slop is such a stupid word for it, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like Repo, and the one where you're in yellow hazmat suits that I'm trying to think of that I cannot. And then, like, all these games where you're trying to, like, do something for a you're trying to sell something for a company, and, like, it's just you and a bunch of friends. You get what I'm trying to say, right? That is a popular genre of recently, and even, like, Peak has, though it's not the same exact thing, it's kind of a similar service. You know what I mean? Similar, like, general idea. All these games where it's you and a few buddies in, like, a physics system messing with each other is a popular genre of recent, right? And so all these games jumping on it. Peak is a great game. I played it with a bunch of my friends. It's a very fun, and maybe if I probably won't make any real streaming friends by the time that game's kind of out of the door. But you know what I mean. I would like to play that with friends on stream one day. Or, like, a game like that with friends on stream one day. But, like, these are all pretty centered. I think this one needs to be pushed down a little. They're all very fun games, and I think those are very well-made versions of what I'm trying to say, where the designers obviously put a lot of fun details into it, and that's the exception to the rule. Balatro being a very good roguelike, so much that it went up against fucking Elden Ring. And Elden Ring's not a roguelike, that's not what I meant, but it went up against Elden Ring for Game of the Year, and it definitely had some people thinking that it would win, which is crazy. Elden Ring obviously stomps, but still, you know what I'm saying. Like, these sorts of games are the exception to the rule, they aren't the rule. And so it's kind of sad to say that like those are the portals of today, and they're great games, but they just don't have the resources that a AAA could give a game of such grandiose. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I kind of get what I'm trying to say. Like, it's sad that currently the process of game making is someone takes a gamble. It's usually an indie company because AAAs don't have too they're too bloated to make such a quick, risky turn. You know what I mean? AAA companies are usually they're hiring too many people, or they have too many people that are hired in their thing. They are paying so much money for each one of these games to be made. They don't want to take a risk. And ironically, that aversion to risk is what is leading their games to be making so much less. You know what I mean? And so they don't want to take the risk and waste the money potentially on these games. Same thing with movies as of recently, but I digress about that sort of topic. It's not what we're talking about right now. They're scared about taking a risk, and so they don't take a risk, and they let these indie companies take the risk. And the indie companies make amazing games. But if a AAA were to take the sauce and make the leap of faith, they, with the resources at their disposal, could make an even greater game theoretically, but are stymied by their own fear. Fear is the mind killer, bro. They should have been watching Dune in the fucking company offices. You know, the Gom Jabbar, fear is the mind killer. Say the whole mantra before they go home from work every day. Is my wife cheating on me because I'm a soulless corpo? Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the mind killer. I don't know what I'm saying, man. This fucking circle doesn't want to be centered. And so you're gonna get my ramblings until I get this sphere centered. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the mind killer. Fucking Ubisoft making another Assassin's Creed game that no one will like, and 1,000 people will buy and be like, "No, another Assassin's Creed game. It was just like the last one. Fear's the mind killer. Fear's the mind killer." Like they gotta nut up or shut up a little. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a sad reality that we're all living in right now. That some people just can't do it. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't really know what I'm trying to say anymore. Ooh, big stretch. We're good. Alright. There we go. Do you think Fred from Scooby-Doo would pull? I don't know, I'm just trying to think of a topic right now. Let's talk about Scooby-Doo. I think they could solve the Kira case. Alright, I've seen this I've seen a lot of theoretical detectives on different cases as of recently. There's this one guy who made a part 1 of like which fantasy or which fiction detectives could solve the Dexter case. Or my friend all right, here's a topic to talk about. Dexter. My friend is a I don't want to be mean, but he's a little bit of a weirdo. That's even like he's crazy, but he's my friend, so I mean this in like a nice way. But he's kind of a freaking insane person with the way he like consumes media. So I'm cutting the inner shelf here so I can actually have some hand room. Give me one moment. There we go. My friend is a little bit of a weirdo when it comes to consuming media. He either binges like 50 season long shows in one sitting, or like in multiple day sittings, and that's just all he does all day. Or hey studio, um, or he just like sits on YouTube Shorts for most of his day, which like I kind of you gotta respect it a little, because like at least he's admitting that he numbs his mind. But my friend watched all of Dexter within like a week or two, which, if you don't know, Dexter is like an 8 season long show, and each episode is one of like the Netflix original episodes, which are like an hour, or like the Netflix style episodes that are like an hour or like 40 minutes long. And so they're fucking long ass seasons of like 20 something episodes per season, 8 seasons, and he finished this all in like a week's time. uh like he just really grinded through all this stuff, and every single day he would come to me with like the 6 to 8 episodes that he would watch, and he summarized them to me in like the most insane ramblings you've ever even heard of. So basically, Dexter murdered his sister's boyfriend, but actually he did it, and the sister's fine with it because the sister is attracted to Dexter, even because they're not blood related. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It just it doesn't make any sense, dude. Um, studio, if you're here, like this is a rambling I have to get off my chest. He would explain these insane plot points, and Dexter, like all I know about the show is it's this guy who kills bad guys, but he is also a bad guy. Real like Punisher stuff. And I'm like, okay, not my cup of tea. I don't really like weird murder mysteries where they sexualize the murderer too much. So I kind of left that stuff in the dust. But my friend, he kind of likes schlop. What the heck? Accept monetization tool. Can start your community. Start on. What the heck is this? Whoa. Okay, I'm gonna leave that for later me to handle, hopefully. What the heck is this? Yeah, let's leave that for not right now, alright? Because that involves, holy shit, what is this? I'm so confused. What? How's it going, studio? I just got the, notification for that I'm liable to accept monetization sources. I'm gonna set that up later. That seems like a little bit of a complicated issue, but it's neat. I think that's cool, actually. I don't think I'll ever be like a you should subscribe now streamer, but it's cool that that's an option. Definitely. Anyways, back to what I was saying. My friend, he enjoys just binging long shows, and he gets kind of dragged into these dramatic stories, and Dexter is like the perfect fit for him because it's a real soap opera type shit. And he's explained to me all these plots, and I just don't. I don't know. I can't. I have a very poor attention span when it comes to entertainment. Not in like a TikTok baby sort of way, but in like sort of a TikTok baby sort of way. You know what I mean? School buddy. Yeah, I don't have like that much of brain rot like bad attention span, but to a limited extent, I'm not gonna lie, I get a little bored when it's just talking in like a video game or in a show for 30 minutes, you know, like regular, I presume, stuff. You know what I mean? But my friend, he's just an insane person. He's like, so Dexter, he almost got caught by this police officer, but actually he framed the police officer because Dexter's actually a genius. I don't even know. It's a lot. And so I've been watching. There's this one guy who made a video on like, and this my friend finished the series like quite a while ago, but it jogged my memory about all this because this guy on YouTube made a video of what fictional detectives could solve the Dexter case, and he's going through like, well, we're doing Dexter from this certain time in the series because he has the most murderiness and the least morality and blah blah blah. So I don't want to. It's a good video. If you are interested in that sort of thing, go watch, look it up. It's definitely, I've like fucked up this circle so bad. It's definitely a recommendation on my behalf. It's a very well made video, and I don't really know what else the guy. This is like the only video that he posted on this second channel of his, so you can probably find it pretty easily, or not at all. I don't know, but it was good. I definitely recommend the video. Um, but what confused me was that how is Dexter such a fucking gigabrain when he's like such a creep? Like, I watched my friend with all these recommendations, like, you gotta watch it. It's a very good show. You gotta watch it. So I watched like the first episode or so, and like, you know, when you're supposed to like not meta the show, but you'll look at the character and be like, this guy's a fucking freak. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is obviously a murderer. Like, what are you doing? And but all the characters are like, oh, this guy's so charming, this guy's so creative, this guy, he's such an entertainer, and you're like, this guy is basically Hannibal Lecter, but he eats more people. Like, what are you talking about? Look at the way he speaks to people. American Psycho, the same thing. Like, how do people not get that this guy is a cuckoo pants? I don't know. I don't know, man. It's for the show. You gotta be like, oh, suspend your disbelief a little. Anyways, um, what was I even? I don't know. I don't know a lot of fictional detectives. I was gonna weigh in on who I believed could solve the case, but like, I don't. I only know a few. I think the Scooby Gang could solve the case. I feel like, from what I know about Dexter of my friend's insane ramblings, he only kills bad people unless he's like about to die or whatever, right? And self defense is the only other chance that he kills that he kills normal people. And so I'm like, the Scooby Gang don't kill people, and they usually solve cases by like pure plot convenience. So I think their plot armor would beat his plot armor. You know, some real detective power scaling. I don't know. I think power scaling is a little silly. It's definitely fun to be like, oh, my dad could beat your dad, but it's a little like, once you get to put in math into avenues in which math was not applicable whilst making a scene, it kind of takes away a little bit of the interest of the series. You know what I mean? Like, someone drew a manga panel, or someone wrote a story and he lifts up a plane. I don't think they were taking into account the exact like laws of, really, you like Dexter? I don't mean that. That was unintentional. I didn't mean that to be like, really, you like Dexter? But it's surprising. I didn't. Does Dexter have a good German dub, or did you watch it in English? I actually don't know a lot about other language dubs. The only time I ever deal with anything that isn't this is gonna be really American coded of me, but anytime I don't really deal with anything that isn't directly from American media sources is usually anime. So, like, the only dubs I am in contact with are those of which in Japanese media. So I don't really know about how good German dubs are. Though I suppose Germany's usually pretty um, well versed in English. I'm sure you could watch English shows much better than I could watch German shows. Though I could actually, uh, for some reason on my For You page, there was this video of a German YouTuber, and I was like, hey, ich spreche Deutsch, ja? I could follow along like a little bit, which I was very happy about. Um, like I have a few, just because one of my German teachers in school was a big music head. I have like a few German songs on my playlist, but I mean, I have like a few French songs on my playlist. I don't speak any French, but I can like sing along to them just because I know the sounds. You know what I mean? But I was watching this Scobidi, and his name can only watch one or two episodes. Oh, but who is Scobidi? I'm confused. I do not. Is it like the Skibidi toilet? Or that was very my age of me, but or younger of me. Jeez, I don't know who dub in German is very good. Okay, who is Skobity? I don't know this person. Is he who I think it is, or is he a German person of unknown origins to myself? But that's nice. So you did watch it in the German dub. I don't know, like, I suppose it has to. Germany has to have, like, German voice actors, but I don't know, I never really think about it like that. Very American of me, but, America's the only. I'm not gonna say that. America's the only real country. I guess I am gonna say that. I don't actually mean that, but you know what I mean. Like, I was very like, oh, only America only English deals with this sort of stuff. All the rest of the countries just speak not English. I don't actually believe in this, but like that's kind of what dampened my mind to the thought of German voice actors, which I suppose makes sense, right? You gotta translate something into German, right? But I don't know. I don't know how long I'll stream today on this. I'll try to actually stream for a while. I didn't really. Oh, Scooby Doo! Oh, I'm I'm a little slow on the uptake. Don't worry about me. That makes sense. Is there good Scooby Doo in German? I really grew up on Scooby Doo when I was younger. My mom would have VHSs of really old Scooby Doo movies, and so whenever I would play hooky from school and skip in like elementary school, I would watch like old VHSs in her office in like the break room of her office and just like lay down on it. Oh my god, it that brings back a lot of memories of like this plaid couch with like a very weird texture, and I would just sit there and then I would like drink sugar water because it was just like it was a break room, so they would have like stuff to make coffee and tea, but I didn't know how to make coffee and tea, so I would just like put sugar and water and drink that, and that brings back a lot of memories. I did play a lot of hooky when in elementary school for some reason. I skipped a lot of school. That's very like. Do you remember how old is your Scooby Doo knowledge? Because I'm like I'm not old enough to be born to be when those were coming out, but like I watched really old, like the older Scooby Doo stuff back when Fred would say, "Stop following us, you vegetable." Do you remember Red Shirt Scooby Doo or Red Shirt Scooby? Red Shirt Shaggy. Because this brings back a lot of memories. Holy shit. Red Shirt Shaggy, and then like, um, what's the one where I watched him racing when he was like a werewolf? Um, these are like the oldest Scooby Doo stuff I think there is, or like one of the oldest mentions of Scooby Doo. And then when he's like a school teacher at like a ghoul school, those are some real classics. I remember that. I remember them playing volleyball. That's like one of my only memories of it. This was a really long time ago. I don't know if we even have those VHSs anymore. VHS was a very like not. I think a lot of people my age wouldn't know what a VHS is, but I'm not like the I'm not like the other girls, dude. I'm different. I'm not like the other teenagers. I'm not like the other. I don't even know what generation I'm in. Is that weird? Like you see all those Gen Z, Gen whatever the hell things, and people seem to put a lot of weight into it, but I don't know if it was just that my whole family is like a lot older than me, and so I like never really fell into my the way I grew up was in one generation because I have my oldest cousin is like 40 and I am not 40, so I like grew up with like this older guy who was like finishing college when I was really young, and he was actually one of my nicer cousins. I had some pretty nasty cousins when I was younger, but they've mellowed out. They've mellowed out nowadays. But he was really chill. He was like my best friend, older cousin. You know what I mean? And so like I'd play on like his Game Boy and shit when I was a little too young to know what a Game Boy was. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's dating me. I don't think it is. Cause like I wasn't old enough to actually like know how to play any video games. It was just me playing old things like that. I've also like for some reason a lot of my childhood was like weirdly retro. So I can say stuff like one of my there's Chip and Dale's, Duckman Blocks, and Dragon Ball Z. Okay. I know a few things of that, but it's also kind of hard for us to be like transcontinental generations. I presume are also different because different media gets to different places at different times. You know what I mean? So I suppose that's also a different difficult thing to measure. But I can like say one of my oldest consoles was a fucking Atari, but like I'm not like 40 years old. I'm not like 30 years old where an Atari was. I just for some reason my parents were like, "Oh, here's a console." Um so I can like weirdly date myself way older than what I am actually. Hmm. There you go. Um but I am making a nice companion cube from Portal 2 and 1 today. Hopefully it'll go out well, though. I don't really have the woodworking tools that would make this a simpler process than it will be. So we'll see. It's definitely going to be a little more difficult. But, that's the fun of it. It's like my own inventivity will lead me through. Let me do these. And then do these. I think I still have my old Atari. I never I played a few of the games, but I was really really bad at old fashioned games. I think I've said this earlier on at different times on stream, but my main to really date myself, my age going into video games when I hmm I never had siblings that played video games, though I do have some siblings. So I mainly started video games a little older because I had to get introduced to them by family friends, or not family, but friends on the street. So I think my first game was Halo Reach. I think Halo Reach was my first video game I ever played, and then more of my gaming went into I think Battlefield 4 was when I really started playing video games. So I think that dates me the most accurate that you can, just from video games in generations. But I don't know. I was talking about this a little earlier, but I finished Portal 2. Well, if you remember, I played a little bit of Portal 2 on stream, just I restarted it. But I've finished Portal 2 a few times now, and I've never actually played Portal 1, which I know may be blasphemy for those who are really into those older Valve games like Half-Life. Sorry to say, but I've never played. I've never played Half-Life. I've never played. I've played Gmod quite a bit, but Gmod doesn't really count. Gmod's kind of timeless. But what are some? I haven't played Half-Life Alyx because I don't want to buy that much VR stuff. I do have an older VR thing that I could still play on, but it's been a while since I've used it because it gives me headaches. But I never played Portal 1. I might one day go back on it, go back to it on stream or something, but it looked fun. It looked just I don't want to say this because it wasn't that Portal 1 is a worse Portal 2, it was just that Portal 2 is a better Portal 1. Do you know what I mean? They innovated and invented such a better system that it's kind of weird to go back to it when there's just a better product out there, you know what I mean? Though I suppose seeing where the roots are would be a nice thing to do on stream. But I haven't finished Portal 2 on stream. I've been playing a lot of, I don't know if you can see this, literally just scroll down in my, scroll down in my Twitch channel and you can just see the VODs that I've been playing. I've been trying to finish Armored Core a lot recently. And I think I'm close to kind of finishing it. I'm probably more than halfway done with it. So once I'm done with that, maybe I'll do more art than just this. But frankly, I've just been drawing on a wooden block for an hour, so I don't know how much of art you can consider this. Eventually it'll turn into something, but I don't even know if I'll carve today, because I'm getting kind of parched, and I forgot to bring a water bottle down, which is just my own poor planning, but still. I have been exciting news. You remember me talking about that remember me talking about that art tablet that I bought after working for a little bit? I have got that, and I've been working on actually a little like PNG tuber model that I could set up before I like get skilled enough to draw a full VTuber model for myself. And it's actually going together pretty well. I mean, it's very interesting to draw because I don't really have. I am like just revisiting old notes that I made on my own stream. That doesn't make any sense. Let me restate that. I've been revisiting the same stuff I've talked about on this stream just because you weren't there, which isn't anyone's problem, but I have something to talk about now. But I've been. This is all done. I'm gonna start carving it in a second. That was loud. But it's kind of difficult for me to dead match Counter-Strike. Oh, that I'm sorry to say, Studio, but that dates you a little. I get it. That puts you at an age range. I'm sorry to say, Studio. That definitely says your age a little. Anyways, it's kind of difficult for me to draw or like do inspiration on models for my own stream because I don't really have like I don't have like a overarching OC to be like my own model, you know what I mean? Like I have a few ideas of it, and I have actually a really cool PNG thing that I'm drawing right now. But I think I'll probably switch it out so much in style and just try out weird stuff because one, I'm making my own thing, so it's no like money out of my pocket to pay someone else to make a new model. It's just my own time, which is very nice once I get like the ability to make one. And two, since I don't really have an overarching theme, I could try out different styles without like different branding, you know what I mean? Like I guess the closest thing that I have to a real model is the apple that's in my, oh shit, this is gonna be like kind of dangerous. I'm not gonna lie with you, this is gonna be like a little itty bitty bit dangerous. The apple is like the closest thing that I have to a real like branding thing, you know what I mean? Which I think I'll add to or that I will do something with eventually. But it's actually kind of a neat project to think of OCs and models that I could use in streaming. Do you know what I mean? Think. Yeah, this is gonna be definitely a pain in the ass to fucking do. But I could do it. With some patience, I could definitely do it. I'll have to find somewhere. You got any patience to go around, House Studio? This is gonna take quite a lot of time. There we go. And here we go. Jeez, that shakes my whole desk when I do it. But a little bit of yes. I don't know. I think with the apple is definitely a easy character to make, but I think doing new characters would be neat. I have definitely a cool I'm already like making something and it's not the apple. Sorry to burst your bubble, Studio, but the PNG I'm making is no apple indeed. But it definitely could be an apple. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. It's very fun to make new characters to draw, and I think this one, once you see it, you're gonna be like, ooh, I cooked a little, sort of. I took like major inspiration from an anime that I used to watch, which you can always do. You can always take inspiration. Um, so a little bit of, I mean, if you get the reference, you get the reference. It's gonna be really cool. I'm not done with it yet because I'm really lazy when it comes to making things, and so I haven't like worked on it in a little bit. But I've got like the shape down, and I just need to do some shading, and then I need to do. So making a V2 model is different from making a PNG model if you don't know. And I only barely know, so I'm going to lecture you with the barest little bit of knowledge that I have. Making a V2 model is kind of neat. It's like you draw one layer, and that, like, let's say, if you look at a V2 model and you know how it's made, it's actually very cool how they do it. So it's all in like little like layers like a cake. And a V2 model is like the face layer, and then you have like hair layers, different layers for different pieces of hair, and then like the neck layers under the face layer, and you can see how it like shifts at different times, which like make a full character. It's very cool. Um, but a PNG model is actually a little different. It's a full picture, and then you just draw changes that it cycles through different inputs. So you can do like an open mouth, you can do a closed mouth, or like a no teeth, you know what I mean? Like something to show that it's talking, and then like a blink cycle, so blinking fully closed, and then blinking fully open. And you can plug it into a software that reads your mic input and then does open mouth when you're talking, closed mouth when you're not, and like switches through the images to do a little bit of an illusion that you're speaking. It's very neat. It's very cool. And I'm gonna do that first, Hiccup, because it's just simpler, and it's like a fast way, relatively fast way to make like an interactable thing without doing the full time and effort that it'll take to make a full V2 model, which will take quite a while. Don't doubt me on that. This is all like me doing it raw on my own time, so it's gonna take me a little bit. I'm not the brightest when it comes to, or like the best when it comes to art, which art is a journey. You should never be like blah blah blah. You should never be comparing yourself to others. You should be comparing yourself to your past and nothing more. Blah blah blah. I get it. You don't have to worry about that, but I mean in just like a literal mechanical sense. I gotta like work on my skill a little before I can make a full model that actually looks good, that I'm like proud to wear around. You know what I mean? But it's gonna be really cool when it finally is done, I think. And it's gonna be way more satisfying than just having someone else make a model from a description. You know what I mean? Shit. I'll sand away, probably. But making this divot is gonna be really fucking annoying. Yeah, it's definitely not gonna be fun. There we go. Okay. And now I gotta like pry. I've like cut a little grid, if you can see, all the way up there. If it would clear up a little, I've cut a little grid in the block, and now I'm gonna like pry the pieces open in the grid. And that's how I'm planning on digging out the like section that should be lower. You know what I mean? It should definitely be a difficult way of doing this, but it's the way that I like thought of, and so it's the way I'm gonna be doing it. Oh, shit. Okay. Yep. Alright. And also, I think sanding it will also help a little. Once I make, like, a bit of a breach. You know what I mean? Don't want to put too much pressure into it, because if you put too much pressure into a knife while it's cutting through something that could break at any moment, you get bad results. Let's just say that. You get a cut that is no longer there, but was there, and it hurt. More than a little, but not more than a lot, I suppose. More than enough to show a mistake without fully and permanently injuring someone. And that is well worth the lesson. Worth it so much that I try not to make it again. Though you always make a little bit of a mistake. You get what I'm trying to say? Because please tell me what I'm trying to say, because I don't get it. Come in. There we go. Break. Hey, it's working a little. I don't know if this is like very detailed work, so I don't know if you can see it that well. But, you can kind of see it. You can see the debris popping off, maybe. What can I talk about now? Let's talk about mascot design. It's kind of annoying to make a mascot, because you gotta think of, like, there's so many cool ideas to make the base, like, level of a mascot, or, like, a OC in general. I use OC very lightly in this circumstance. I don't mean it in, like, the, I'm making a full character, but, like, making a general design is what I mean it in. And it's definitely an interesting process, because, like, first you gotta think of, like, what are the bare components going into it. Because usually, most of the time, unless it's very out there in your design that you're making, it has something to do with the real world. It could be an animal, it could be a concept, it could be, like, a certain fictional character general design. And it's very interesting to make one, because you gotta, like, marry both the concept that you enjoy enough to, like, represent as yourself, and you gotta do something that's both viable to you and that you personally think represents you a little. Let's run through things that aren't, because I want to keep my character, or I want to keep the image that I'm making a little bit of surprise until it's, like, finally out. So I'm going to run through, like, a few things that I thought of while making my character, while thinking of the design. Definitely a lot of animals. Animals are very easy to make a design out of, if you may know. I'm sure you do. You're an artist as well, studio. But animals are really easy to make, generally affable in some way. I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, but let's not take my eyes away from the board while I'm cutting this deeply. Animals are pretty easy in most circumstances, because at least I'm cutting away from the body. They're pretty recognizable. They have, like, pretty recognizable traits. You want to make a tiger, you just make stripes, yellow or orange, white, and black. usually you have tiger designs out of that. Pretty easy. Tiger wasn't one of my designs, though. It would be pretty cool to have a tiger VTuber. I don't think there is one, actually. Don't steal that design from me. I claim rights over it. Copyright. But designs off of animals are very generally easy to think of and like design well, because you just need general stereotypical character traits of that animal, and you should be all hunky-dory about it. You know what I mean? Like, if you think you are characterized by similar traits as an animal, very easy to just be like, oh, slap on a color palette that you enjoy. You're right as rain. A few that I thought of were, I actually don't know. Give me a second to like jog my memory a little. I thought some sort of aquatic based animal, like a fish or a shark or a whale. I don't know. I thought that would be neat. I used to really like animals, and especially like sharks in general. Like, when I was a kid, I used to really enjoy reading like nonfiction books about sharks. Shark Week was my favorite time of the summer, etc., etc. So I think a shark would be very neat. I think it would capture a lot of like old character traits that are interesting, and like there are a lot of dope ass sharks out there. But I thought sharks are a little used as of late. Not really, but if I see someone who's already, damn it, we're fine. I didn't cut myself. I just like went too far. If I see someone that like I've watched who has a shark design, I'm like, I probably shouldn't take that. So sharks were out of the running. Octopi were also pretty cool, but I've seen some octopi VTubers, so that's also out of the running. What were some other ones? Whales, pretty cool. Also some whale VTubers out there, but still, I thought those could symbolize me pretty well. I don't know. Elephants are pretty cool, but they aren't really my favorite animal. They're more my sister's, so I didn't really want to take that from her. Though she doesn't do anything online. I feel like it would be wrongful of me to think of that as my character. You know what I mean? Probably gonna be wrapping up soon. No offense, not because of anything else. I'm just horribly parched, and I forgot to bring a water bottle. And you see, my streaming room is a bunker underneath the earth, and I cannot blah blah blah. Apple. So, other than animals, another way of designing a character is like different, just common objects, fruits, vegetables, whatever. I definitely could have done apples, but apples are kind of hard to characterize. You know what I mean? Healthy, hearty, I guess. Like, are different ways you could describe them. Sweet or bitter, depending on the apple tone. I don't know. I suppose if you wanted to like do an old lady VTuber, she'd be a granny apple. That's actually a cool concept. Also copywriting it, putting my flag down there. No, but apples are neat. But for a male character, they're kind of difficult to portray as anything other than Johnny Appleseed. If you don't know, Johnny Appleseed was an American folktale about this guy who would go exploring around and doing American stuff back in the Old West, and every place he would go, he'd plant an apple seed. He'd plant an apple tree, and so that's why there's so many apples all around America. Apple trees all around America. Sort of. I don't know. Johnny Appleseed's like a very folk-tale-y sort of person in American history. America has a lot of like folk-tale-y sort of people, but I could certainly make a Johnny Appleseed character design, and I think he's a neat character, but I'll put that on the back burner because, as I said earlier, I don't really have a full brand in my channel, so I could definitely go back to Johnny Appleseed. Trademarking it, don't steal my property. But there isn't really anything else you could do with an apple So that's also off the list. Another way you can create a character other than just general design is you can also make you can do a list of character traits and then just throw a certain thing on top of it, like a list of your own character traits, and then throw a different like veneer on top of it. Be like, oh, this works. I think or I try to be funny on occasions. I certainly do. I try to have witty jokes and commentary. So I'm hoping that would be like a neat character or a neat character trait you can also do into a character. So it's kind of hard to in visual media. I'm probably gonna end it off soon, but I'll continue with this sentence. It's kind of hard to um, visually show like different character traits. You gotta like kind of play into the thing. So funny. What do you think of clowns? There are also a lot of like clowns or jester VTubers, which I thought was actually a very neat idea. I'm kind of envious that I could not get into the game sooner to steal that from them, but I was not old enough to get into the game sooner. Anyways, that was just like some stuff that ran through my brain when I was trying to think of character. Um, so I hope that maybe like showed you the way my mind was running through some ideas. Anyways, I'll probably be ending off right now. Thanks so much for showing up, studio. I don't know if there's anyone else here, but if you did like that, hope you have a good day. If you didn't, no worries. Bye. Um, Twitch or VOD watchers in general, I also concur with my previous statement. If you're watching this, you enjoy me just talking for an hour and 16 minutes, almost 17 now, but I think I'm going to end it. Maybe not. 17 minutes, apparently. If you like me just talking for a while and doing art, see ya. Studio just did whatever. If you liked me talking for a while and just generally doing whatever, leave a follow, check me out on Twitch. If not, no worries. Have a good day. See ya.